had never given a thought to how personalities, how culture, how leadership actually influences the success of how well a company or association, an organization does. But I have learned how to work with professionals and take their knowledge, assimilate it into a structure where we can make the best decisions for the entity that I'm working with or consulting with. I want to suggest to you that everybody is a leader. I don't care what position you're in, if you're sweeping the floors or if you're making sweeping decisions from the CEO suite, everybody is a leader in every organization. Well, hey there, welcome to the Dan Stockdale podcast. I am so glad to have you with me. I don't care if one person watches this or 100 or 100,000. Well, actually I do. That would be really cool to have 1,000 people watching this. But what I really care about is having the opportunity to make a difference in one person's life in business in some form, fashion, some way that's going to make a difference for you in your career. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I went to school in Northeast Ohio and attended Kent State University. And that's where I got my bachelor's degree in psychology. And when I was going through my psychology training, the one class that intrigued me the most was a class called organizational behavior. And it had been really interesting to me because I had never given a thought to how personalities, how culture, how leadership actually influences the success of how well a company or an association, an organization does. That had never even crossed my mind. Now, mind you, I grew up with my mother, who was a nurse, who's pictured actually right back here. My mother, who was a nurse, and she would work afternoon shift. So on those days when she was working and dad had to work late, I would go to work with dad. And that, after school, I'd be bopping around his office and I'd go rummaging through people's desks. I'm sure they wondered, why in the world is Wayne letting this kid in my office? But he was busy doing his thing. And so I'd go get their pens and pencils and, play with a calculator and, do all those things. And I found that really interesting. Fast forward to high school, and I happened to be the nerdy guy with the glasses. And I would be in the library reading Business Week. I would be in the library looking at the Wall Street Journal. Okay, that may explain why I didn't have many dates in high school. I don't know, but that was me. Everything about business, numbers, metrics, and culture began to really intrigue me a lot. So when I went to Kent State and started pursuing my bachelor's degree, I guess it just made sense that I would end up taking a lot of psych classes and in fact majoring in psychology, but then supplemented as many electives as I could through the business school so that I could learn those fundamentals of business and how accounting works, how does economics work, what is finance, what does that even mean, what's that domain of finance. So that was my bachelor's experience. Kent State University, graduated with a bachelor's degree. Got out of school, went straight to work. Somehow or another, I ended up working for the bankruptcy trustee out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and ended up turning around bankrupt businesses for them, doing workouts and that type of thing. I have no idea why at 25 years old they would hire me to do that, but they did. And for some reason, it worked out. I went into troubled businesses. I learned at a very young age, early in my career, how to go into troubled businesses and turn them around and make them successful. So that was an awful lot of fun for me. I did that for several years, went back to school, went to Austin Peay State University up in Clarksville, Tennessee, and got a master's degree in corporate communication. Thank you, Dr. Parcells. If you're watching this, you are the reason that I am where I am today. You, a phenomenal friend and professor, Dr. Frank Parcells, amazing guy. Just absolutely amazing. So encouraging to me when I didn't even think about going on to master's level classes. He encouraged me, and goodness, it's great to have mentors like that. I don't know if he even has any idea how many, probably hundreds of students he has inspired over the years. At any rate, did that, got a master's degree in corporate communication. In between those two things, went to Vanderbilt to work on an MBA and went through the Owen School of Management. The first year of that program was coursework, again, building on my bachelor's degree coursework in business. And then the second year was more team oriented and doing projects in teams. I didn't really feel like I needed the teamwork aspect. So I quit after I got that coursework out of the way and gained the technical knowledge that I thought I needed in probability, statistics, those types of things. So take that, go back to business, been working again, another 10 years. And all of a sudden I see this ad, a billboard along the interstate, was living in Florida at the time. And I saw where there is an executive PhD program at Florida Atlantic University. They were just starting this program out. I applied, and lo and behold, I got in. I don't know why. They should have never let me in, but they did. So completed almost all of the coursework for the PhD program. COVID hit. I, at the time, was working in the healthcare sector, and specifically in nursing homes and long-term care. Took a break from that PhD program, and at the current time when you're watching this, I am going to be going back later this fall, finishing up the coursework, and then deciding whether or not I want to do the dissertation. So as any of you that have done dissertations, you know that that's a very time-consuming process, can take, on the good side, a year, and other times 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years. Some people never finish their dissertation, so they're a PhD ABD, a PhD all but dissertation. So if you ever hear me use that terminology, that's what that's about. So so that's where I'm at right now. I'm, from an academic standpoint, that's what I'm bringing to the table. From a business standpoint, I have been fortunate enough to operate several businesses in several industries over a period of, goodness, I hate to say this because it really makes me sound old, but over a period of about 40 years. And you may be saying, you must have started when you're 2. You look so young. Please put that in the comments. Please put that in the comments. But no, I have been operating businesses since I was very, very young. When I was a kid, I started off, anything I could do to just be out there earning my own money, paper route, everything back when in the old days when there were paper routes. And I had 2 paper routes that I ran after school, would run them on the weekends. And then I'd also take my lawnmower around on the weekends and cut yards. Anything I could do to just be independent on my own and making my own money is what I want to do. So from a very, very young age, I've been, from the ground level up, literally ground level up, mowing yards, but have literally done anything and everything I could do to learn about business and just to be a student of how businesses operate. So where all have I operated? Goodness gracious, real estate. Real estate's been very good to me. I've enjoyed everything from just small real estate acquisitions, single family homes, to assisting with my son in opening up a very large property in Kansas City. That was a multifamily property focused on the senior housing space and catered to multiple levels of care. I've also operated in the concert promotion industry. I've also operated in retail. There have been several areas I've operated, several different industries sectors that I've operated in, but there's some commonalities there. It doesn't matter if you are doing logistics for a tour or if you are operating a nursing home in the most regulated industry, one of the most regulated industries in the entire world. The logistics are there on some level. The culture is there based on personalities and performance and skill sets. The culture of the organization, whether it's a traveling tour or if it's a nursing home in a rural town in Tennessee, the culture aspect is the same. It revolves around individuals, people, their personalities, and how you take those and don't just hire and fire willy nilly because you can, but how do you take diverse personalities, people with diverse backgrounds, and help them mold together to become one unified team with a singular purpose in mind. So that's a little bit about the work aspect and how that has tied together. So why now? Why this podcast? The intent of the podcast is to make a difference in your life personally and your performance as a leader. Now, as a leader, you don't have to have an official title of manager of this department or supervisor of that department. I want to suggest to you that everybody is a leader. I don't care what position you're in, if you're sweeping the floors or if you're making sweeping decisions from the CEO suite, everybody is a leader in every organization. I'm going to be sharing stories with you about great leaders that I've encountered, people like Joel Manby, others that have been just amazing leaders that I have watched. I've had the ability to serve under them. And in the case of Joel, not directly under him, way under him, but see his leadership in place. People, names that you might recommend, where I've worked within their organizations, like Dolly Parton, working at Dollywood and through a subcontract organization of theirs. Many, many aspects that I think you might find intriguing here and there. So that's the plan, is to bring all of these things together, all these principles, and share them here. Hopefully there will be a lot of discussion in the comments. I want to hear from you. If there's a topic that you are struggling with, whether it would be how to deal with a worker that never shows up or shows up late every single day, how do you get behavioral change, or when is it time to start really implementing the disciplinary process and the coaching process on a formal level. So lots of different topics we'll be talking about. The future, I hope this becomes, and the word community gets thrown out a lot, but I hope this truly does become a community. It's a place where I can interact. We can interact with each other. We can learn from each other and make a difference in your life and in others' lives. I at no point want you to ever feel like I think I have all the answers. I don't. I will be the first one to admit that I don't. Now, when I got my bachelor's degree, I thought I knew everything. Then master's degree, I was like, okay, I know how to approach questions. At the PhD level, it was like, I know absolutely nothing. And it taught me how to start asking the right questions. You may hear the phrase that the person that asks the most questions is probably the leader in the group. It's very true. That's true for a reason. It's because at some point you realize you really don't know anything. You are so dependent upon others and their knowledge and skill sets that you really begin realizing you don't have near as much knowledge as you think you do. But you do learn how to take these professionals that are very authoritative in their area, have a tremendous understanding of their area of knowledge, like physicians. I have had many, many doctors working for me. Currently, I have over a dozen doctors that I work with on a very frequent basis. But trust me, you do not want me going in doing surgery on you. You do not want me prescribing anything for you. I would mess it up totally. But I have learned how to work with professionals and take their knowledge, assimilate it into a structure where we can make the best decisions for the entity that I'm working with or consulting with. So that's the hope here, is that we'll use the comment section, that we'll have live questions coming in here and there. We'll do some live streaming and hopefully make a difference, not for really thousands or hundreds of thousands, but just for you. That's the intent.